this morning, and welcome to a Ryan Day takes a giant sigh of relief now that the transfer portal window is closed for this spring edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor, everybody, and smash that like button if you haven't already. Please subscribing to the channel. We're only 57 subscriptions away from 4,000. If you're not one of those yet, please be one of those 57 who subscribe to the channel. We absolutely appreciate that. If you do, ring the bell, get notified every time we go live. Big new live show coming up tonight. Chris's call-in show, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on the OHO podcast channel. Tomorrow, the Buckeye Lounge makes their debut with former Ohio State Buckeye and national champion Tim Anderson joining the program for their inaugural show here on the OHIO podcast with TG and Sean Schrock, the Schrock Star. So you're not going to want to miss that as well. Again, ring the bell, get notified every single time that this show goes live. And of course, Thursday night and Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here. If at any point during this video something strikes your fancy, make a comment down in the comments section below. The more comments we have, the more that YouTube algorithm seems to like that. So we're going to go ahead and just massage that thing a little bit. You know what I mean? Kind of make that the little algorithm happy. That's what we like to do here at the OHIO podcast. Make them happy. You know who else is happy? Ryan Day is happy because he lost 0 scholarship athletes off the roster from this transfer portal season here in the spring. Now TC Caffey jumped in the portal. He was a walk-on running back, someone who we really liked here. Fan favorite TC Caffey was. Didn't play last year in 2024 due to an injury, was bouncing back off that injury. And given what we saw in the spring with that running back depth that Coach Locke has been able to build and is building currently right now at Ohio State, it looked like TC's opportunities to get on the field were going to be extremely limited this season. And so he decided to jump in the portal. I believe TC's can make an impact, can be a scholarship athlete and make an impact today in the MAC. He could make a big impact in the fall for a MAC school or even a lower level Power 4 school possibility, making an impact there. But good luck to TC. Again, fan favorite, but wasn't a scholarship guy. Now, could he have stuck with the program and maybe earned a scholarship now that those numbers have increased, I believe, to 105? Maybe. I don't really know the ins and outs of which walk-ons are going to earn those scholarships on the roster, given the space that the roster needs, has at this time. So we'll see what happens with that, but our well wishes to TC Caffey. Now, I have 3 reasons why Ryan Day was able to retain his roster this spring when a lot of coaches around college football were unable to do so, given the outcomes of what was seen on their particular campuses this spring after spring football's conclusion. Reason number 1, let's dive into it. And this is the biggest one of all. Ryan Day was able to keep his roster because the culture is absolutely strong. Listen to this quote from Ryan Day on ESPN Radio this past weekend. I woke up with a little bit of a headache because it was a long night last night. That first beer went down cold after the portal finally closed at midnight. I can tell you that. Holy smokes, what a world we're living in right now. What an interesting quote, kind of a whoo moment from Ryan Day when he didn't lose anybody to in the portal off the roster. That roster, maintaining the roster, is one of the most important things that Ohio State spends their NIL on. It is well documented that they spent upwards of $20 million on the roster that won the national championship last season, and a large chunk of that was bringing guys back who just got drafted in the NFL draft, who could have been drafted a year before in some later rounds, but they came back, they stuck it out, they improved their draft stock, and then they went out and they won a national championship. And this year's no different. They have maintained their roster. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, these guys, through avenues of illegal avenues, I might add, were getting information from other universities who were trying to drop some serious dime on their lap. Of course, Ohio State's through their NIL collective was able to retain those guys in their services for another season, and that's going to be a battle each and every single year for the talent that is on this roster. However, one of the biggest things that these guys talk about is this right here, the culture at Ohio State. It's different. It's not like most universities. The culture is something that the players who just left this university who are now professionals all talk about. They talk about the brotherhood. They talk about how important it is in their relationship with Christ. They talk about how strong they are inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center and in supporting one another. It is a very, very strong culture, and it is a culture that Ryan Day and this coaching staff has been building over the 6 seasons that he has been the head coach at Ohio State, and is now flourishing, if you will. He is enjoying the fruits of that labor of cultivating, believing in, and working and pruning and growing that culture over a long period of time that has resulted in a national championship and a culture that, quite frankly, I think might be the strongest in all of college football, because you can't argue with the results that Ryan Day is getting, not only on the field, but off the field as well. Well documented since the January of 2023, Georgia has 24 wins on the football field, 25 arrests off the football field. And a lot of people like to point at Georgia as being the top tier program in college football now that Nick Saban retired from Alabama. And one might argue, given the culture that Ohio State has under Ryan Day, maybe in this year, if Ryan Day can get back to the college football playoff, maybe win another one to get that second national championship under his belt, one could make an argument that the culture at Ohio State is far greater than that of the one in Athens, Georgia, that Kirby Smart currently has been trying to build. So, that being said, reason number one that Ryan Day was able to keep his roster, the culture is strong. Let's go to reason number two. Players now have better data. The transfer portal, although it feels new to all of us who've been watching college football our whole lives, has been out and present now for several years. We're looking at what, 4 or 5 years now that the transfer portal has been a thing to where you can just jump in the portal whenever you want. It might even be more than that. It might be, I think it's 5 years now, maybe getting closer to year number 6, where you don't have to sit out a year anymore. You don't have to go ask for a special waiver from the NCAA to transfer and be able to play in year one. You can just jump in the portal and jump out of the portal if someone will take you. However, there's an old saying that grandma used to say, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Oftentimes we look at our current situations and we look over the fence at the situation that someone else is in, if you will, and you think the grass looks greener over there and you want to hop the fence to that side. What we don't always see are the landmines that are waiting for us over there. There's a lot of players who have jumped in the portal who have found out that things aren't better on the other side. Let's take Nico Amalevin, for example, down there in Tennessee, was making $2 million in his NIL. He wants $4 million, jumps in the portal, and then landed in Los Angeles for UCLA, making $1.5 million. $500,000 pay cut. Imagine if your boss came to you and said, listen, you're not going to work here anymore. You're going to work for the competitor. And oh, by the way, you're going to work for three-fourths of what you worked for here. Would any of us like that? No, of course we wouldn't. But that's exactly what happened to Nico, and that's exactly what's happened to a lot of other people. I've stated this several times on here. There is a underbelly of outcomes, dominoes, if you will, that fall because of the way people are acting in the transfer portal. One of those things is that scholarships for fringe players who are Division One fringe players aren't being offered to them anymore because these smaller programs are waiting for the guys from the bigger programs who jump in the portal, who don't find a landing spot, and trickle down to them. This is very much what's happening in recruiting. And so you have schools like Akron, MAC schools, right? Sunbelt schools, Mountain West schools, who are taking smaller freshman classes because they're waiting for some of these guys who jump in the portal and don't land on their feet in a power four. And so you have to be aware of this when in the portal. I think now that there's more of this data that's coming out for these players who are making these decisions, and they're being surrounded by very intelligent people who are helping them make these decisions, unlike what happened for Nico. And I'm talking about people within the universities, by the way, who are giving them cold hard facts, and their family, by the way, providing those facts for the family members as well. They're able to make better decisions for their future. And one of the things that Ohio State offers these players that a lot of other universities cannot is a future beyond football. Listen, we know we're an NFL factory. Ohio State just proved that. 14 first round draft or 14 draft picks in the NFL, 4 of which went in the first round this past weekend, right? 3 that didn't get drafted who were eligible, and they all were unsigned free agents, or excuse me, were undrafted free agents who signed with NFL programs. So, um, Ohio State is very much an NFL factory. However, beyond the NFL and beyond your playing career, because you only have so many miles on the tread of your tires as a football player, Ohio State is able to set you up for a life outside of football that is pretty successful, pretty lucrative, and something that is desirable from these kids. And one of the things that you can believe is that the network of alumni at Ohio State who love their football players, mind you, are going to make sure to keep these football players employed and happy well beyond their playing year. And so the opportunity that these guys are given in Columbus, Ohio, and beyond, given the huge alumni network that Ohio State has, is something that is of incredible value that the NIL doesn't touch. Something the NIL can't predict for you. The financial gains from NIL are immediate. They're today. They're what have you done for me lately? However, the financial means to secure your future beyond, that's something that Ohio State and this alumni base can provide for these players. And I think that they're seeing that the grass is a lot greener on this side of the fence than that immediacy that they're seeing beyond the fence if they were to hop it and go in the portal and maybe find someplace else. Reason number three, the winter portal window is more enticing. Now, what do I mean by that? So let's not kid ourselves here, folks. Although we didn't lose any scholarship athletes to the portal this particular spring, we lost quite a few guys in the portal this past winter. And it happened even before we went on our national championship run. So, despite the fact that we made the college football playoff, there were still people jumping in the portal. Gabe Powers left Ohio State for Kansas State, jumped in the portal, despite this team being college football playoff eligible and then making the run. He was in the portal. Quarterback Air Nolan, he left Ohio State for South Carolina. Line, line, Lineman Zin Mikowski left for Indiana. Wide receiver Kojo Antwi, Colorado State. Cornerback Calvin Simpson Hunt went to Baylor. Defensive end slash linebacker Mitchell Melton went to Virginia. George Fitzpatrick, the offensive tackle, he joined Gabe Powers. He went to Kansas State. Defensive tackle Hero Canoe jumped in the portal, landed in Texas. Um, Safety Jaden Bonsu, he jumped in the portal. He went to Pitt. Offensive tackle Miles Walker, he ended up at Boise State. And then probably the most famous one, most famous two, if you ask me, wide receiver Jaden Ballard. He ended up at Wisconsin, and quarterback Devin Brown. He ended up at Cal. Now Sam Williams-Dixon, running back, he jumped in the portal and he jumped right back out and came back to Ohio State. And so that's a rarity, though. He was the only one who did that out of all those guys. But let's not kid ourselves here. That's quite a comprehensive list of players who, for whatever reason, whether they felt like their way to they were blocked to getting on the field. Maybe they had been passed over by a younger player on the depth chart. Maybe there was some conversations that were had with the coaching staff, and they realized their best way to see the field wasn't going to be in Columbus, Ohio, but somewhere else in college football. And so that that portal offered them the opportunity to go play much more somewhere else. That definitely is the case in some of these. But I think the winter portal window is much more enticing to players, and here's why. You get on campus earlier, you then can battle in spring ball for your position to then play more in the fall when the season comes. And so having that knowledge of the program, the playbook, etc., all those things that are an advantage. Think of it like if you are an early graduate and you get on campus, your chances of playing as a true freshman are much greater in the fall if you start in January than if you wait and you come in after you graduate high school and you come to campus in the midsummer. You're already so much more behind all those freshmen who were already on campus in January. And so you look at what the winter portal window offers these kids compared to the spring portal window, and you begin to quickly understand why that's the superior window for the portal if you're going to compare the two of them. So that's my third reason. Again, three reasons why Ryan Day was able to keep the roster intact following spring ball as far as scholarship athletes jumping in the portal. One, the culture is strong. Two, players have better data to make decisions. And three, the winter portal is just more enticing to these players. All of this reminds me of one of my favorite verses, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Have a great Monday, each and every single one of you. We appreciate all of your support here at the OHIO podcast. Don't forget to put a comment down in the comment section below. Is there a fourth reason that Ryan Day was able to keep this roster intact following this spring portal window? Let me know another reason if you have one. I'd love to hear from all of you guys down in the comment section below. Don't forget the Chris's Call-In Show tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on the OHIO podcast. Ring the bell, get notified. Don't miss it, everybody. Have a great Monday and have a better week, everyone. Until next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH in Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. You all know what to do. Go Bucks.